Welcome to the Matty Rocks experience and On the Road with Matty Rocks, on location at Halfway Jam in Riverton, Minnesota. Day 3, the finale. Closing it out here at Halfway Jam. I'm joined with special guest Michael Sweet.
Are you reading all this, man?
Lead singer and frontman of Stryper.
Hey, how are you, man?
Good. Thanks
Good
for
to
joining
see you.
us.
Absolutely.
So your first Halfway Jam.
First Halfway Jam. Yeah, I was informed that this is the 8th Halfway Jam, right? Started in 04. I thought it was maybe the 2nd, so it shows you how much I know about Halfway Jam. I'm not too familiar with it, but I mean, you know, we're really excited about being here. It's our obviously first time here, and we're excited.
Great bill that was put together. You excited to play with these other bands?
Absolutely, yeah. We just did a few shows with Lynch Mob recently, and got to know those guys, and they're just really sweet people, man. Good guys, and we were excited to see them. Our paths have crossed with the Queensryche guys as well. Just recently, 2 of the guys came out. The new singer and Michael were out at our show in Seattle,
right.
So we got to talk to them for a while. So yeah, you know, we kind of, when you're in a band and you're traveling and you're playing with other bands, you come in contact with them often, and you get the chance to talk and hang out. It's cool to catch up and see them. Very cool.
Very nice. Michael, if you would, take Matty Rocks listeners back to the early years of the Stryper project, and how the whole project came to be. Because you originally started it with Rocks Regime, and then which turns into Stryper.
Yeah, it was going way back. Prior to Rocks Regime, it was Rocks, ROXX, and then we changed the name. We added Regime, so it became Rocks Regime. And when we signed the deal with Enigma Records as Rocks Regime, we wound up all collectively agreeing that the name was, you know, not the best suited name for the band, and a little hard to remember, to pronounce and whatnot, and came up with the name Stryper. The band did, and the stripes were already in place actually before the name was. So everything was yellow and black. The walls of the rehearsal, where we rehearsed, the garage, they were yellow and black. We wore yellow and black. I mean, it was all in place. And then after the name was agreed upon, everybody liked that, we wound up coming up with the scripture Isaiah 53:5, which is, in some translations, it reads, "By his stripes we are healed," which, you know, then the stripes had significance and meaning, and represented from that day forward the beating that Christ took on the cross. So it just all kind of came together and became focused and started to make perfect sense. Then the acronym came, and it just, you know, one thing led to another.
Right on. Stryper takes the Christian rock identity right off the bat. Why was that?
You know, we were just, there were a number of reasons. I think we were all kind of burnt out on going down the path of the Sunset Strip that all the other bands were doing, that we did for a while. And you know, I think we came to our senses, thank God, and realized that just wasn't what we wanted to do. And we wanted to offer people hope and encouragement. Not that other bands don't, but
right.
That, you know, we didn't want to do the typical sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. So we, you know, rededicated our lives, became Christians. Tim was raised in a Christian family, and he got out of the band that he was in, and you know, started going to church, and you know, we all wanted the same thing at the same time, to just kind of change our lives and our hearts,
right,
and our direction.
It almost seems like even though you guys were a Christian rock band, you guys were still put out there right up against some of the other rock bands out there, you know,
yeah,
videos and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think there are always so many answers to these questions and reasons why. There are a number of answers to that question, and that is, you know, we were in that scene for years prior to becoming Stryper.
Right.
So we were all playing with, you know, Rat, Motley Crue, and
right,
you know, Poison, Bon Jovi, all these bands way back when, and you know, coming out of that, I think the fan base and mainstream remembered us for, you know, oh yeah, it's Rocks Regime or Rocks or right, Stormer or whoever, you know. And that really helped us to kind of, you know, make the changeover to mainstream. And then, you know, I'm a firm believer in if you have the songs and you have the sound, people are going to listen, Christian or not.
Exactly.
And if it's a good song and you know you deliver it well, I think people are going to just dig the music. It doesn't matter if you're singing about God or if you're singing about the devil. Obviously, a lot of bands sing about the devil, and I don't know that most people really necessarily always agree with the message of the bands, but they just dig the music.
Right.
You know, that's probably the majority.
What's it like playing in a band with your brother?
It's great at times, and it's, you know, we're brothers at times. I mean, you know, we all go through frustrations, not just with the two of us, but all four of us. I mean, we're all like brothers.
Right.
But, you know, when you're this close and you've been doing it for this long, you know, there's ups and downs and disagreements and whatnot, but you work through it. That's part of being in a band. It's like a marriage, and you work through it. And I think that the key is communication, and sometimes we need to have better communication, but we try to communicate and talk, and I find that when we do, things are great. Things are better. When we don't, you know, they're not as good,
right.
You know. So, but yeah, we've been going strong, man, for almost 30 years.
Very nice.
Crazy.
Where does the ideas and inspirations come to writing the music?
Just me personally, from you know, experiences in my life over the years, you know, things that have, you know, saddened my heart or put joy in my heart, things that have taught me lessons in life, things, you know, all the things that I've learned from growing up. I can relate to when I'm writing and draw from when I'm writing. So musically speaking, I mean, I'm inspired by hearing new bands, hearing old bands, hearing a good song, hearing a great riff, a great musician. It inspires me to want to go and pick up the guitar and write a song, you know. So it's the inspiration around us that you kind of draw from, and that inspires you to do whatever it is you do, whether it's writing a book or writing a song or, you know, creating something, building something, whatever it is.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Stryper is currently has 9 studio albums to date.
Wow, do we? Is it that many?
That's what my research tells
Wow.
me. Out of those 9, which one of those albums to you is the special project, the one that you really hold close to your heart and think is?
Well, I think there are a couple. Most special for me would be, there are different explanations for that, and there's what do I like the best? That'd be Soldiers Under Command, because that's just my favorite. Energetically speaking, that's my favorite record. I love the energy of that record. We went in and tracked it really fast. It has a raw energy none of the other records have, in my opinion. It all became more produced and polished. Tell With the Devil would be probably top of the list because it was the most commercially successful record for us. So it took us to new places that no other record took us to. So that really holds a special place, and took us to bigger venues and doing more on a larger scale, which really opened new doors, which was exciting and awesome for us back in 86, 87. And then I would say too, you know, Murder by Pride, which is a new record. Even though it's as far as in terms of sales, it doesn't, you know, hold a candle to those records. But it's one of my favorite records because I'm proud of that record because it holds its own against all of our records in the past. And that's, you know, that's a pretty difficult thing to do when you're in 2012, or excuse me, 10 when that record came out, 9. That's a difficult thing to do. It's hard to make a great record. It just is, because you lose steam or you change as a person. So, and I'm really proud of that record. I think it's cool. I think we did a pretty good job with that.
And they're all great. Talk about the covering and the inspiration behind that whole project.
Really simple, just the bands we grew up on, our influences, who we listened to as kids, and who made us want to play music. And we've tried to condense and fit them onto one record. And you got 12 songs, 12 covers, 1 original. There were so many more songs we wanted to do. We could have made a record with 40 songs, 50 songs on it. But, you know, yeah, didn't have the time or the money.
Right. 1990 comes along and the release of Against All Law. Kind of a deviation from what we were used to, the yellow and the black, and almost went to a more black and blue kind of coloring.
Right.
Why the deviation from the Christianity style of what we were all used to?
It wasn't so much a deviation from the Christianity style. It was more so just trying to be different, wanting to do something new and fresh and mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
So we changed up the colors. Thought that'd be cool. You know, still kept the stripes.
Right.
We all had different colors actually. Changed the music a little bit. Thought that'd be cool. Changed the lyrics a little bit. Thought that'd be cool. We, you know, scowled a little more in the pictures. You know, I think in many ways it worked. In some ways it didn't work at all. You know, and that's it. But I dig the record. I wouldn't go back and change it.
It's really good. Stryper had a lot of successes and accomplishments over the years. If you could nail down one accomplishment or success from you guys, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I just think the overall fact that we were able to break down the barriers and cross over into mainstream as a Christian band, you know, it really pretty much was unheard of. I mean, we were going up against all these bands I listed earlier, you know, Motley and Poison and, you know, Bon Jovi and a ton of other bands at the time, and beating them out on MTV. And I don't know why, I don't know how, but that was pretty crazy and a miracle in my opinion. So I look back on that and I think, wow, what a really cool thing to be able to say, you know, like, man, we were able to cross over as a Christian band into mainstream and singing really bold lyrics about Christ. It was really unheard of.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Favorite band that you guys admired taking the stage with? There's many of them.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so many bands throughout the years. We always loved touring with TNT,
Great
which
band.
I think there's actually a cover band tonight, right? Covering, are they a cover of TNT?
They're AC/DC cover.
AC/DC. So there you go. They're not a TNT cover, but they're called TNT.
Right.
So that makes even more sense. The song TN. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, TNT, we love them. We toured with Hurricane, Kelly Hansen, who's now with Foreigner.
Right.
Great singer, great band. Man, we like to go out and have fun and meet people, and we enjoy their company. Like I said, the Lynch Mob guys, we see them like, hey, what's going on? You know, just we enjoy meeting people and hanging and performing with our, you know, our peers.
Your solo projects. We can't leave here without talking about your awesome solo career and what you've done. Out of all those 6 albums that you released, from a solo perspective,
Wow, that many, huh?
which one do you hold close to your heart for the solo projects?
I think probably The Truth would be the one that I hold closest to my heart, and not just because of the creation or the direction of it, but the fact that it didn't get a fair shake, and that bums me out. But you know, I don't let it hold me down. I just kind of wish that had turned out differently. I went in with Bob Marlette. He produced it, brought in the big guns. We went to A&M. You know, spent a lot of money making it. Everyone was just thrilled about it. It was Restless through Regency, and it wound up about 2 weeks after it got turned in. They closed their doors as a company, so it was no more. It was over like that. And that was, musically speaking, the record I'm most proud of. I mean, even up there with the Stryper stuff. I really dug that record, and I wish it had a fair shake. The new record I just finished is very similar to that. As a matter of fact, if you roll up all of my solo records, the first one, kind of the anthem, arena rock. The second one, a little more acoustic flavored, and Truth, you get this new record. It's kind of got a lot of different styles, so it's very diverse, yet it somehow works. It's cool.
If you want to know Matty Rock's favorite, it's him.
Him?
My
Cool.
favorite.
Awesome.
So,
Well, man, I think you'll like the new record. I really think you'll like the new record.
was the jump to solo in '92 a needed jump after the 7 years?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was. I needed to do something different. And needed a fresh breath and to catch my breath. And I just felt like we were, in my opinion, kind of starting to take a downward slope, and we had done our thing, and you know, it was tougher and tougher to do it. I was burnt out. I was just burnt out, and so I departed, and the guys continued on for a period, and then I released this first solo record in '94 and started touring.
You had a special project with Boston. Can you touch on that just for a second?
Yeah, I toured with Boston in '08. I was asked to be a part of the band after doing a show in '07, and Tom came back and said, "Man, we loved having you in the band. The band's never sounded like this. I'm quoting him.
Right.
And he just went on and with incredible compliments, and said they weren't ever going to tour again. That was their last show. It was supposed to be. It was a benefit to Brad Delp. It went so well, he came back and said, we want to tour again. So we toured about 7 months later. And I did the '08 tour, and then I lost my wife Kyle, and I met Lisa Champagne, who is now my wife. I'm married to Lisa, and it was pretty sudden, and I wound up not really communicating with the Boston guys too much after I met Lisa, and I just didn't really know where I stood in the band because of lack of communication, and asking point blank, am I a part of this? Are we going to tour? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to take care of Stryper related business and whatnot. So just from not getting answers, I said, I'm not going to continue down this path. And I left. I left about maybe 10 months ago,
Okay.
to focus on Stryper. And they're out touring now.
Right.
They got another guy, because singer, guitar players are a dime a dozen.
Yeah. And you're back with Stryper.
Life goes on.
There you go. Being a husband and a father, how do you balance the family life and the music life together?
It's tricky, man. I don't do a very good job of it. I wish I did a better job of it, but I try my best, to spend time, obviously, with the family when I'm home, to stay in touch with the family when I'm away, because family really is very important to me, and more important than the whole music thing, absolutely, without question. So they mean a lot to me. They really do.
Your son Michael Jr. is in a band. Being in the industry for as long as you have, what kind of advice do you give Michael Jr. as he progresses in music?
Oh man, just be creative, not just in the musical sense, but in the business sense. It's very difficult for bands to make it nowadays. And once they do, to sell records and to develop a following, it's not easy. It's a very difficult music world out there. It's not like it used to be. Most bands got signed, they were in arenas 3 years later, 4 years later. It's not that way anymore. It's hard. So, don't get discouraged, be encouraged, and continue going after what you love to do. And if you love it, that's why you do it.
Right. How does it feel to be back with all the Stryper gang again? All of you back together?
It's great. I talk about that every night on stage, how it's the original lineup. It's really special. It's very unique. Not a lot of bands can say that. And I count maybe on one hand, maybe going on to two hands, the bands that can make that claim. And I always say too, some of them it's out of their control, some of them it's in their control, but we're very proud to be able to say that it's the original lineup, and hopefully we'll remain and continue on for another 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know about anything more than 20 years.
Well, we sure hope you continue on for a while.
Thanks, man.
Looking back and reflecting on your amazing music career, would you change anything?
Oh gosh, what would I change? Yeah, I would. I would change a few things. I would try to, if I could have had a little more say in the marketing and planning of the band, of not to hide from the Christianity tag, because we're true believers. We love God and we try our best to serve Him the best of our abilities and to the best of our abilities, but I just feel like sometimes the way it was presented and marketed, it kind of limited us sometimes. I would change that. I'd go back and change that. So maybe doors could have been open wider. I also, maybe would have tried some different things with, I feel like sometimes we've become a little bit more of a gimmicky band versus a musical force. I wish the focus would be a little bit more on the music than, say, on the yellow and black. Nothing against the yellow and black, but that tends to be more of the focus often than none. But, I'm not saying I would have done away with the yellow and black. I just think I would have done it a little differently.
What does the future hold for Stryper?
Hopefully a lot. Hopefully a really bright future, and we're planning on doing a new studio record. We've got to re-record, then a new record, more touring, and hopefully just continue on touring and making music.
Very nice. Keep Manny Rocks listeners updated on where they can keep up with you, the rest of Stryper, everything that's going on with the band in the music?
Well, the best way to keep up with us probably is through the Stryper Facebook, Stryper or Facebook.com/Stryper. We all have Twitter accounts. You know, it's a great way to. I'm kind of a tweetaholic. I tweet maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 times a day. Sometimes not that much on some days when we're traveling, but I tweet a lot. I probably drive people crazy. But that's a good way. It's Michael H. Sweet at twitter.com or twitter.com/Michael H. Sweet, I think. And we all have Twitter accounts, you know. We have Stryper.com. There's .coms for all of us in the band, you know. So I mean, you can find us all online, man. It's real easy and a lot of information out there.
If you had the opportunity to send a message to Stryper fans all over the place, and Matty Rocks listeners are going to be hearing this interview in the United States and not only but all over the world, what would you like to say to them?
Well, I would just from the bottom of my heart like to thank them, man, for the years of support and prayers and standing by our side through thick and thin, ups and downs, good and bad. And we're very, very, very blessed and very grateful to have fans like we have. We have some very loyal fans. It's awesome. And they come to our shows night after night and support what we do, and we wouldn't be here without them, plain and simple.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Michael, thank you for taking the time out of your busy tour schedule.
Thank you, man.
For sitting down with me. Continued success to all of you in the band.
Thank you very much.
You've heard it here, Matty Rocks listeners, on the road with Matty Rocks, Michael Sweet, Halfway Jam 2012. Matty Rocks out.
Thanks, man. Thank you, guys. Cool. Awesome.
So sweaty there.